They say your generation can't focus, that TikTok ruined your brain, that you're addicted to your phone. But here's the truth: focus is not broken, it's the environment. The average person checks their phone 352 times a day. That's once every 2 minutes when you're awake. A UC Irvine study found that after interruption, even if it's just for 3 seconds, it takes whole 23 minutes to gain your focus back. So if you're picking up your phone every 2 minutes, you never even get close to that 23-minute mark. You didn't use your attention span. You've never been allowed to use it. We call this a distraction problem. Like, if you tried harder, everything would be fine. But it is not. Your brain is not broken. It's overloaded, stuck in the environment that interrupts you every few minutes. Hello, I'm Maria, psychologist turned software engineer turned productivity app founder. I make videos about productivity, motivation, tech, and everything in between. So here's what constant stimulation actually does. I think by now you already know that there's no such thing as multitasking. It's just really context switching. And I've made a video about it not so long ago, and I'll leave a link in the description so you can check more about that topic if you're interested. So basically, every switch leaves attention residue. Pieces of unfinished thoughts that stuck up like open tabs. So even when you sit down to focus, your brain is still clearing up what it was just doing. So we've kind of adapted to the noise, but not by mastering it, but by tolerating chaos. That's why sometimes silence feels so strange. Like your brain just keeps reaching out for input. If it is not your fault, then whose is? In 2017, Facebook's former VP, Chamath Palihapitiya, admitted, "We created short-term, dopamine-driven feedback loops that are destroying how society works." He was talking about likes, notifications, scroll loops. Your phone isn't just distracting you. It's engineered like a tiny slot machine. Each ping promises a random reward, so you just keep pulling the lever. It's not bad luck, it's design. The attention economy worth hundreds of billions of dollars. Every app profits by keeping you hooked. So the product isn't the app, it's you. Your focus, your time, your attention. When people say, just have more self-control, remember, you're not fighting yourself. You're fighting the industry that keeps you from thinking deeply. And it's working. So they're right, something has definitely changed. But it wasn't you. You can feel it too, right? Like sometimes I would be in the middle of coding something, actually making progress. Then I hear my phone ping, just one. But even if I don't open it, part of my brain is still wondering, was that important? Should I check? Is it urgent? And that tiny voice, that's not a distraction. That's your brain trying to protect you from missing something. So last week I tried tracking my day. I got about 47 Slack pings before 10 a.m., 12 new open browser tabs, and let's not count 15 that has been open since yesterday. About 8 app switches in 15 minutes, so by 6 p.m. I was exhausted. But I couldn't name one meaningful thing that I actually built. A developer friend said something that stuck. I used to hold up the entire system in my head, but now I can't remember what I coded an hour ago. And that's not forgetfulness, that's cognitive fatigue. That's the reason Goblin Mode became Oxford's Word of the Year in 2022. People are collapsing into low-effort, high-stimulation habits because effortful focus feels impossible. And this isn't about a willpower. The environment has changed. If distraction isn't the problem, then what is? It's overload. And it shows up in three different ways. First, input overload. Too much coming in. Every ping, every update, every text drains the same glucose that your brain needs for focus and problem solving. Neuroscientist Daniel Levitin called it cognitive overload. Your prefrontal cortex, the part that does deep thinking, simply runs out of fuel. That's why by midday, you cannot tell if you're tired or just overstimulated. You can't think deeply when your brain is busy clearing up the tabs in the background. Second, decision overload. Too many choices. Most people makes 35,000 decisions a day. Even what should I do first? Cost mental energy. Think about your morning. Before you even start your work, you've already made decisions about what to wear, what to eat, which task to start with, which tab to open first, whether to reply to this text now or later. And that's just the first hour. No wonder you're exhausted by 2 p.m. That's why Steve Jobs, Mark Zuckerberg, and Barack Obama wore the same thing every day. They understood the decision fatigue. By the time you reach the most important work, you've already spent your focus on micro decisions. Third, stimulation overload. No off switch. Even when you're resting, you're still scrolling, listening to something, or watching something, multitasking. Your brain never rests. Just like me last night. I was watching a show and I thought that I would just scroll through Instagram on the boring parts. And at the same time, I was also thinking about the next day, about my plan and my schedule. I finished the episode, but I couldn't tell you what happened. My brain was running so much apps at once. It never got to rest. That's why it's called task switching, not multitasking. And the more you do it, the worse it gets. Heavy multitaskers actually perform at multitasking worse than people who rarely do that. So you're not losing focus, it's been systematically drained. Alright, so how do you fix that? Not by adding hacks, not by forcing focus, but by designing your environment so you make focus the default. So here's what I tried and what's working for me. First, delay the inputs. You don't need to block every distraction, just delay it. So I have a system about how I check my notifications. Sometimes I mute them all, sometimes I leave some channels open, and I actually have a video about it, and I'll probably link it down in the description below so you can check it out. So basically the way how I check the messages and how I work around notifications, it changed a lot for me. When I mute my notifications, it doesn't feel like I'm less informed. I just wasn't reactive anymore. So that message that would feel urgent at 9 a.m., by 2 p.m., half of them would resolve themselves. So it turns out most urgent things aren't really urgent. Every ping you ignore in real time lets your brain keep its power for something that's really important. So silence isn't the goal. I don't mute entirely everything, but I take control of it. Second, automate the obvious. Most people waste focus on the decisions that don't matter. Automate what you can. Same morning routine, pre-decided work block, even the same breakfast. Sure, it might feel weird at first, but when I tried it, here's what actually happened. I noticed that my creativity went up. My brain wasn't spending energy on what should I do next. It had room to actually think. When a day has rhythm, it stops burning energy on transitions and starts using it for depth. Third, protect your energy. Build white space. So let me explain what I mean here. Your attention, it follows your energy, not your schedule. If you overstimulated, no planner can save you. So I started doing 10 minutes of nothing every morning. No phone, no music, just sitting. It sounds boring, right? But after a few days, I noticed that something started to shift. My brain stopped feeling like it was always catching up. It started to feel like it had space again. 10 minutes of silence Resist your brain more than any productivity hack. Add some white space with no noise, no input. That's how your focus recharges. Number 4, reduce the noise. A University of Texas study found that having your phone in your room, even if your phone is off, reduces cognitive capacity. You can't outfocus the design, so change the design. I started putting my phone into another room when I'm doing some deep work. First day felt kind of like a withdrawal, but by day 3, I will forget that it's even there. All of my work is in my computer, so actually I don't really use my phone for work, just for distraction. And the work that would normally take me 3 hours to do, apparently I only needed 1 hour to finish it. Not because I got smarter or something, but just because I removed one small interference, which actually wasn't that small. So do you remember the feeling that I described in the start? The noise, the tabs, the pings you can't escape. That's not a distraction. That's overload. You don't need more focus hacks. All you need is fewer inputs. Because every minute spent fighting the noise is a minute stolen from clarity. So the question isn't how do I focus harder? It's how do I build the world where focus happens naturally? And that's what I'm trying to build in my app, a way to design for attention instead of chasing it. You're not broken. The system is. And once you fix the system, focus returns on its own. If this helped change how you see focus, please hit like and subscribe. Let's build better systems for real attention. I'll see you next week.